You're listening to Honey, We Made a Disney Podcast. Two friends since first grade, now dads, reliving the Disney movies we grew up with, now with our kids. I'm JB Wagner.
And I'm Eddie Ferguson. And on today's episode, we tell the tale as old as time, true as it can be. It's Beauty and the Beast. But first, JB, how are you and the family?
We're good. We're good. That was some elegant hand motions to bring us into this. For those of you listening right now,
or watching, yeah.
For those of you listening, Eddie did some great
this is
hand
true.
motions
I'm
during
making hand motions. Well, it's like two first. Yes, there's lots of hand motions to be made now. But enough about me. How are you and your family?
We are good. I have a part 2 to my bike story.
Yes.
With my son, with Buddy, my son. So he got a bike, and I knew that as he started to get faster on it, he starts to get up to speed. I'd probably want to get a bike too. I haven't ridden a bike regularly since 12 years old, 13 years old. Well, I don't know when. So
when's the last time you rode a bike?
Well, I have ridden a bike when my early days in California, when I was living in San Francisco and in even a little bit in Southern California as well. Not too much, because then I think I lost the bike. That's a whole nother story of losing my first bike in San Francisco on the bus and watching it leave. Bus. It was great. But today's story is part 2. My son, we got him a bike for his birthday, and I'm like, I want to get a bike too. I told the story about Stu helping us get the bike. And so I kind of went back to Stu. I said, Stu, I need a good place to get a cheap bike because I don't want to invest a ton of money in it. Just want to put something into it so that I can get something that's kind of fun to use. So he sends me this website. He's like, this is where you need to go. This is the place. Okay, cool. Load it up. Called bikesdirect.com.
I'm writing this down.
Yes, good. Please do. Bikesdirect.com. Don't be alarmed. It looks like they haven't updated this site since 2002.
Yes.
A little post Y2K is the last time that they did any sort of color or anything. It's alarming. It's very alarming and doesn't make you want to throw down your credit card, your debit card, your cash, whatever, PayPal, whatever. You don't want to throw it down too quickly. Had Stu not been the one to give this to me, which he used to own a bike store, I would not have trusted it because it's kind of like the Craigslist, kind of like the worst Craigslist of bikes, but they are for sale. They're new bikes.
Speaking of sites not updated.
Yes. Although they do have an app now. It's not been updated in a long time. It's super sketchy, but the bikes are very cheap. This was a $500 or $600 bike that I was looking at for only $250. It's a hybrid bike. Like, okay, I'm going to go ahead and get that, but it's going to come in the mail, and it's going to, you have to assemble it yourself. So it arrives. And before that even happens, I go through, I think at PayPal or something like that, pay it, radio silence. I get nothing. The only thing
confirmation,
no confirmation, no nothing,
emails,
nothing. And I go to their site, and it actually sent me to this long website. I had to save it, this long page. It was like all the different things that were a part of the bike coming into. If you have any problems, email this person. If you call this, whatever. So finally, after a day or two, it says wait a day or two to contact us. I finally emailed them, and then the next day afterwards, they email me back saying, okay, sorry, here's your confirmation. It'll be there. Then it came in 2 days, and I was like, whoa, this is really fast. I'm getting
2 days?
2 days later, it's then at my house. I'm like, oh, that was super fast. I thought this was going to take like a week or something from the shady site. So it finally arrives.
I'm on this site, and it is shady.
It is so shady. Like you don't want to put your money down for this, but Stu was the one that told me, so I believed him. So the bike comes.
I'm just going to say cyber hot deals up to 73% off.
We are getting the
not 70, not 75, 73. Sorry, I keep interrupting.
No, you're good. Bikes Direct is getting so much free pub from us right now. So I'd first wanted to see if Stu would come help me put the bike together, but he was busy at work and couldn't, and we just couldn't get the timing right. So I was like, you know what? I'm a grown man. I just put my son's bike together. I'll put this bike together.
Funny you bring that up. I'm looking here. It says 85% of customers assemble their own bikes. That's right on their website.
And they have
85%.
They have a video that says, here, an 11-year-old put it together. And that's the selling point. That's the that's the shaming of all the dads. It's like, well, I can
an 11-year-old can do it. I can do it.
So I get it. And it's going pretty good at first, but for some odd reason, I cannot get the front wheel on. I cannot for the life of me get the front wheel to go on.
Was it upside down?
No. It's better than that. I'm trying to get the wheel on. I'm pulling out wrenches and stuff like that. I'm cranking on this thing to loosen up the bolts on the front wheel to get it open, to get it on the tongs or the forks or whatever. Forks, I think it's what it's called. It's just not going. It's like, fine. I'm going to go do everything else and then I'll come back to this part. So I go back and I'm like doing other things on it. I'm putting the seat. I'm like, man, there's something missing here. Go and I look inside the box, move a few things, and there's a little box in there that has the unlocking thing for the front wheel to take it on and take it off easily.
Yes.
And with a whole pin and everything. I was trying to put the thing on with no bearings, no nothing. It was just going to be sitting on the fork. It would never turn. Whatever I was doing was completely wrong. Finally get it on together. Cool. This is great. Got it all. I'm like playing with, okay, cool. Now I want to go ride it. I take it on the front step. I take my wheel from the step down to the ground. The front handlebars turn in like over. The seat goes up almost vertical, and the whole wheel turns sharply to the right without the wheel turning. So the whole thing is just in one motion, completely undone because I didn't tighten anything. And it was another 15 minutes of me tightening things, trying to get it back, go out, and then something else would fall apart. And I felt not like the strongest. I did not feel like an 11-year-old boy in this, like that 11-year-old boy who put his own bike together.
I just imagine you in the middle of the street on your knees with your hands in the air going, Stew!
So yes, I had a much easier time with my son's bike, but it was still a fiasco trying to do my own bike. And now now it's good. It's great. I've tightened everything down. I've got added accessories, but that was been my adventure.
So when you said hybrid bike, I'm immediately thinking like an electric bike.
No.
And I'm looking up here and it's like, okay, not as cool, but still cool.
No, it is not an electric bike. I did not throw down $3,000.
I know those things are so expensive.
No,
because I see people riding those and I'm like, this is the way to go. You pedal just a little bit.
Pedal assist.
Yes.
There are the bikes that actually push you forward, and then there's a pedal assist where you still have to push a little bit, but it's got some motor inside of it. So
You've done your research.
Stu has been my research on this stuff. No, I've done my own research, but he kind of was talking about, don't you buy a bike that doesn't require you to pedal. So is
there a bike themed Disney movie coming up? The reason I ask is we need to have Stu on as a guest if there's a
guest expert.
As a bike, I think
this is a good time. I think this is a good time to plug our website, honeywemade.com/movies, where you can see all of the movies that we're going to be covering. All the movies coming up from 1988 to 2005, which was our childhood minus the first year. Do you see it on there?
I really don't. There's not really a bike themed movie. The only bike themed movie I can think of, what was the name of that Joseph Gordon-Levitt movie that came out maybe 10 years ago?
Good. I enjoyed that.
Yeah, that's the only I
wanted to say Need for Speed, but that's definitely not the name of the movie.
Need for Speed at 15 miles per hour.
Need for Speed at 15 miles per hour.
Oh, that is wonderful. So when do you guys go on your first father-son bike ride?
Well, we've been going on little rides around our little neighborhood. And and he likes to go really slow and go over all the rocks and go all over the bumps. And I'm like, where's my destination? How do I get there fast enough? So we're working on that.
We are, or you are?
I'm working on it myself.
Oh goodness!
But no more talks about my bike, Eddie. Do we have some Disney news to talk about, or something Disney related to talk about?
We do, since we're still in 1991. We're bringing you up to speed on some of the things that are currently happening. Our dependence upon Disney Plus brings us to the great news that they made the decision to release the new Pixar movie Soul, which was due to come out, I believe, this past summer.
June 19th.
But due to the global pandemic, it did not happen. They're going to release it on Christmas Day with full access. They're not going to put it behind their extra paywall.
Yep.
Mulan, you had to pay like $30 for premiere access on top of your subscription. And if I'll have to double check this, but I'm pretty sure sometime in December is when Mulan comes out from behind that extra paywall.
I have been getting the ads through Redbox that it's on its way to Redbox. So I figured it's got to be sometime on Disney Plus.
Yeah. So I think they're kind of testing the other side of this is, what if we just put it on there? Does this increase? I think December, Christmas season is a natural time for some people to pick up a Disney Plus subscription. You got kids home. It's Christmas. We're excited. I could totally foresee my family just kind of at the end of the day popping some popcorn and watching it together.
Oh, we will.
We love
for sure.
Pixar movies.
Is it too close? Is it too much of a... Is the concept of Soul, is it got way too many shades of Inside Out?
Well, so it's the same director, right? Same writer and director. I'm seeing this is going to be the spiritual sibling of Inside Out.
Okay. It's related.
If Inside Out is a little more psychological. This is definitely, I don't know if you saw the extended trailer, but it's like, this is going to be very
heavy.
spiritual minded. It's going to,
yep.
Yeah. I mean, you're talking about souls and.
Well, it's Disney, it's Pixar, shoot it into my veins. Take my money, unless it's $30 for Mulan.
John Baptiste is doing a lot of the music because it's Soul is a play. It's about your soul, but it's also about soul music. A lot of jazz.
Play on words. Yep.
Right. So they got John Baptiste to do that, which he is the band leader for Stephen Colbert.
That's right.
A New Orleans jazz musician of his own fame prior to that. So yeah, I'm excited if nothing else for the music of that. I've been listening to this podcast called Four Scores. I think I told you about this. And today I was just listening to the episode on Randy Newman and his scoring for the Toy Story movies. And it just got me like super excited about Pixar scores in particular. They have a way of being very particular about their scores to help further drive the music. And he made a comment. This is interesting, getting way off topic, but they specifically do big orchestral soundtracks because they want to help soften what they think is the stark contrast of computer animation.
I can see
that was
that.
Interesting.
I can see that.
There's my little rabbit trail. That's free.
That's just for you. That's for all of you listeners right now. I think it's time to move on to why everybody clicked in here today, which is to talk about Beauty and the Beast.
Cue the Disney-ish sound effect.
Okay, IMDb. Can you capture...
Don't fail us now.
Can you capture Beauty and the Beast in a single sentence? Let's hear it. A prince cursed to spend his days as a hideous monster sets out to regain his humanity by earning a young woman's love. end scene. That's good. I enjoyed that. I enjoyed performing that.
It is a concise summary. I feel like though it leaves out the the enchantment of it all, the musicality of it all.
There's nothing about people break out into song all the time.
Where do we start with Beauty and the Beast? Because this is a big one. Let's start at the opening.
Let's just start at the opening. My first thought watching this time, not back when I was a kid, but right now was, wow. I don't remember watching this in HD.
What?
I don't know that I've just like sat and just watched the crisp color of just like that opening coming through the forest and seeing the cat.
It's
like
so vibrant.
It holds up all these years later.
It's cinematic.
It's magnificent.
Yes, it's beautiful. The score with the narration,
it's just like
and the simple animation. Like they don't get too complex, especially when they
don't get cute.
And then they move to the stained glass, where it's just let's just give you a snapshot of the scene. That is so cool. Like it is fun. And I had this moment. So Lewis and I were watching it together, and I kind of had the same reaction of just like eyes wide open going, wow, this is a really moving opening sequence. And I look over and Lewis has the exact same look on his face. We're both just like, whoa. An interesting fact, I didn't know this until I was looking all this up. The actor who voices Cogsworth is the narrator at the beginning.
I did not know that.
Yeah, I thought that was
same actor. Interesting.
The same actor. I thought that was quite interesting. I'm blanking on his name. Let me see if I can find this.
Yes,
David Ogden Steers. Yeah.
Okay. Yes,
Kudos to
him. Just that opening scene is. I mean, there's so many iconic moments in this movie, but that for sure is when you think of Beauty and the Beast, it's hard to not think of just that opening scene.
Well, because then you go to right after that kind of prologue opening, then you have the opening scene of the provincial town, which is, again, such an amazing opening. And I thought this was what struck me this time watching it, of going, this is amazing opening to set up so much exposition. Like, you figure out who Belle is, who her dad is. You figure out Gaston and what is he trying to get out of this story.
Motivation.
You figure out what Belle's trying. Like, everything is set up in this song. It's so heavy exposition, but you don't feel it at all. You don't feel it at all.
Is this the song that they were worried about when they were writing the? I forget. Listening to the documentary Howard, also
so
on Disney
good.
Plus. They talk about this movie because they were working on this and Aladdin, kind of at the same time.
Yeah, I think they were. Well, because it's such a different style. You also have a huge chorus of people throughout this, which is quite complex for an animated film, at least at the time.
Yes, is now a good time to talk about Belle. We're at the point where we've now introduced Belle, because there's definitely, I just grew up liking Belle and liking her character and thought everybody else did. And I think generally people do, but I think there is, maybe it's because recently or whatever, but I found out that my wife is not a huge Belle fan.
What?
We were watching it and she just randomly happened to just say, Belle's definitely the snobbiest princess. You can't, for listeners right now, you can't see Eddie's shocked face right now.
I'm discovering so much about her through this podcast that if I would have known this previously, I don't know if I would have been as supportive of the
her
marriage.
Comment is that she comes across, one is snobby and one is better than herself. The whole time she's talking about these people that she thinks she's better than.
True.
That's what the
in
song,
the opening song. Yeah.
Even the word, I actually looked it up in the dictionary. I looked up, not in the dictionary, but on my phone. Provincial is the word is one of the definitions that's like the one down the bottom, but the one that fits in this context is a person who lacks urban sophistication or broad-mindedness. And they definitely took her character in the 2017 Emma Watson version of live action of which I don't know how much we want to talk about. We will have to talk about it.
Boo. I'm going to boo it every time you bring it up, just so you know.
They definitely took it even farther towards you guys are complete idiots and hate science and hate women's empowerment and all that kind of stuff to another degree where I think it turned off a lot of people. But even when it comes back to, I think there's some level to that, but I think she still like has a good heart throughout the whole thing. Even the way she interacts with Beast, interacts with other people. Yeah, she sings the song about wondering why staying in this little town, but she actually does care about the people and care about other people. She sacrifices her own life for her dad. Come on. So I don't know that I would go that deep. I think that's worth mentioning is that there is some like little bit of like, why am I still here in this little town? I've got so much more that I want to be. But then again, maybe that's just natural for a young person who wants to dream, and maybe that's not necessarily a snobby thing.
See, I think the snobby thing comes more from the fact that she was probably homeschooled. And this is where our wives kill me.
Which is why my wife probably would want to enjoy Belle because she was homeschooled. So
yes.
sorry, baby. We're giving away way too many details about your life right now.
Belle was my favorite princess. Like, you know, you're not supposed to have a crush on an animated character, right? But there was
now we're getting a lot of information about you, Eddie.
Yeah, and then I did happen to marry a woman who is also thick brown hair and brown eyes. So
you're laying it all out here, Eddie.
Yeah, it's
all out there.
No, I think I love Belle. I think she's a very strong character that holds her own, where a lot of times you don't see that in princesses that kind of need somebody else to kind of come rescue them. You know, I just see her as a very strong character, and love the I think the reprise of the Belle number. I always bring this up that a good Disney movie has a good reprise moment. This is probably the best, or at least tied with The Little Mermaid on the Rock. You know, when she's kind of a Sound of Music moment, frolicking on the hill, the little meadow. Yeah.
Yep.
She's out on the meadow. I want adventure in the great wide somewhere. Like, why isn't that like on a whole bunch of Etsy t-shirts?
It should be.
Should be.
I'm writing that. I'm literally writing that down right now to make a Etsy
make Etsy
t-shirt for great wide some. Okay, gotcha. Cool.
I want it more than I can tell.
The reprise is what she kind of goes back to a little bit. There's odes of that when she and the Beast are kind of playing. Like, there's something there I never knew before. There's
the same it's a very melody. Similar melody, yeah.
But then she kind of goes behind the tree. And she's like, "Oh, did this?" Like, and there kind of like goes back to the opening. Discover that he's him in chapter 3. That whole
the music of Beauty and the Beast is at a genius level. Like, it is. I know Howard Ashman and Alan Menken. Little Mermaid is amazing. You know, they definitely they didn't get to fully finish Aladdin together. But you know, this is just the two of them at their finest, at their genius level.
This is their second movie, right? This is second of their trilogy. Do we have a cool name for this trilogy, like the Cornetto trilogy?
I think it's the
Howard trilogy,
the Menken Ashman trilogy, Ashman Menken trilogy.
Mashman?
I don't know.
Is it the Mashman?
It's so there's not a weak song in the whole bunch.
I was trying to think of one, and I really can't think of any weak song in here.
And even there's a couple like Human Again that ended up getting cut and put back in like the extended cut that came out like when it was its anniversary.
I don't know that I've seen that.
Human Again also found its way into the Broadway play. This was turned into a pretty successful Broadway play. And it's really good. Like I'm like, why did you cut this? This is just as good as any other. So like the cut songs are even hold their own. But on top of that, like the animation is beautiful. There's just a richness to the color. I appreciate how you highlighted earlier, like to see it in HD, like really kind of helps you see that.
I did see the CGI ballroom a little bit more crystal clear. And that kind of made me go, oh, yep, this is CGI, but it didn't hurt it for me. It was just like, oh, I didn't realize the ballroom dance was all CGI.
This was the second movie to use the CAPS program from Pixar after Rescuers Down Under.
Talking about the characters a little bit, what did you feel when you first saw Mrs. Potts again? Because I got excited.
I have a great deal of nostalgia for Angela Lansbury.
Okay, good. I was a little afraid. You took a deep breath there, and I was a little afraid you were going to say, well, let me tell you, let's talk about Angela Lansbury real quick.
So let's talk about Angela Lansbury. So in my mind, there are two of the greatest women are Angela Lansbury and Julie Andrews. No, don't even try and argue. They're the best. So Angela Lansbury, my mom's favorite TV show is Murder, She Wrote.
Of course it is. Of course it is.
And
listeners, if you haven't watched an episode of Murder, She Wrote, you need to go find it. It's great.
You are missing out. Like your life is not complete. So it's not uncommon to walk into my parents' house and to hear Angela Lansbury's voice. Like,
does your mom listen to this podcast, by the way? Are we going to get in trouble for her talking?
My mom doesn't even know what a podcast is. So yes, Angela Lansbury, the second you hear her voice, it's just like perfect. It's perfect for her. And that's where I boycotted the remake hard time. I love Emma Thompson too, but like just bring Angela Lansbury back for that. That should have happened.
Well, yeah. Didn't they have a moment where they brought back somebody at the end of and she was sitting in the park? Who was that?
So that was Mary Poppins Returns. And they had Angela Lansbury randomly be the
That's what I'm thinking of. I'm like,
but she wasn't in the original.
Yeah, she was in the. Okay, gotcha.
It was a sweet thing. Okay, let's have Angela Lansbury because she's Angela Lansbury. I did like that, but she should have just voiced Mrs. Potts in this because she is amazing. Do you know they only recorded Beauty and the Beast, the epic song, twice?
No, stop.
And they used the first take.
No.
Like she nailed it on the first take. And they were like, well, we
need one for safety.
Yeah, like
otherwise we don't get paid.
But what's there to improve upon? Which apparently was unheard of because Howard Ashman was meticulous and would like, I want just an extra breath here, or, you know, he was very meticulous on how he wanted the actor to perform it. And when Angela Lansbury stepped up to the microphone, it was just like, first try.
That's insane. One other actor in here that I didn't realize voiced this person, the voice of Lumiere, is actually Jerry Orbach, who is from Law and Order, the iconic Law and Order guy. Was Lumiere. I didn't realize that until watching the Howard documentary on Disney Plus. I was in shock. I was like, what? He was doing Lumiere, but then you can kind of hear it, but he does a really great job with just with the vocals that he puts into that character.
Yeah. I'm refraining making a comment about the remake because of that as well. This could just be a whole podcast on why they shouldn't have remade it.
Oh dear God. Okay.
The other voice actor. So this was a crazy. My mom. Speaking of my mom again, anytime we would watch Beauty and the Beast, she would always go, Robbie Benson is the Beast, and we'd all be like, who? So apparently in the late 70s, there was this movie called Ice Castles, which was big kind of heartthrob romantic movie that my mom is in love with. The theme song was played at my parents' wedding. He was a teen idol apparently in the 70s. And so for him to voice the Beast was a big deal, but most of us wouldn't know him.
I want to say that because this was my first time really sitting down and rewatching it, laptop open, really taking it all in and trying to write down any thoughts I was having. I feel like the Beast, I know it's crazy because his name is in the title of the freaking movie. So of course he would be a pivotal character, but man, the way that he was created, his backstory, his intentions all along, the back and forth nature of both trying to be very forceful at the same time so insecure made this movie for me. Rewatching it again, he really is a child to some degree. They played him so young before you see him as like in his human body, because he's so like putting on airs, trying to be big and gruff, and he has that animal instinct to throw things at you, so you are afraid of him. But at the same time, like some of his mannerisms, and he's awkward and he's introverted, he has no social skills, like it really makes you feel for him and you want good things for him. And we can talk about 2017. That was a huge miss in my regard to that character. But this version of him was it's so good. It's there, instead of making him this big, crazy character that you can never come close to, they made him so humanized from very early on. He's second guessing himself and he's trying things and he's like, questions like me. And then he just like roars and then he immediately takes it back.
No, the scene of him at the door outside her bedroom,
yes.
And the characterization there, like he's very physical. You see him get big and then small, and then that second guessing and everything. That scene right there really establishes his character, and you don't. I think at a casual watch, you don't really realize that. And in rewatching this, I realized this is really the Beast story. Belle is a secondary character.
Yes.
She has a very small character arc. Like her character arc is like, I want adventure in the great, somewhere. And I get it here. That, that's her story. The Beast has the big character arc.
Yes. There were definitely some times near in the middle where I was like, I wonder what her real character arc is. Obviously, she's going from being a free woman to now a captive in this house, and she's falling in love, and she is the whole song. There's something there that wasn't there before. She's getting a sense of that, but it's kind of a little scattered, and it's more based on the moment of what's happening that it's out of her control. For Beast, it really is a huge adjustment and a huge change for him and his, not personality, but in his motivations and what he cares about, and letting himself learn to love somebody else.
Yeah, and you do see a little bit of that in Belle. At the opening, she's very centered on herself, a little bit on her father. And then you see that kind of open up where she has love and caring for a broader.
I think you're right. I think it is a small arc. But I think it's more driven by the external circumstances than it is necessarily her having a transformation of heart. It's more like she was a good person. and this person helped saved her. And you know what? Actually, I think I do like him after all. He takes a huge change. So I think it's more to like, we all think about Belle, but really the Beast is what is the most pivotal part of this movie.
Yeah. Great villain, Gaston, with an excellent sidekick in LeFou. His, LeFou's song in Gaston's Tavern is, again, there's no weak song in this movie.
I just love even just the little bits of it when using the word expectorating for spitting. But then even the end of it afterwards, after her father came in, and even just that little piece after it, it's like, LeFou, I'm afraid I've been thinking a dangerous pastime. I know. Like, I love that. Just little back and forth of just like, I've been thinking, I shouldn't be thinking. My son, Buddy, loved it when he got thrown out into the mud and he was like, he got pigs on his head. That was a great moment. And although he did get very distraught when Belle was when her father was taken away and Belle was left back, and he got very upset about that.
I read somewhere that originally they were going to meet the keeper of the insane asylum at the insane asylum. Like, they had actually roughed in some animation of like crazy people in an asylum, and they were like, this is maybe too gruesome for kids.
Too much
for an animated film.
That guy was pretty intense, though. I remember like, oh, this guy.
Yeah. I do have to say, while we're on the topic of Gaston's Tavern, if you ever find yourself in Walt Disney World, go to Gaston's Tavern and get LeFou's brew. It is like this frozen apple juice with like a mango flavoring in it that is amazing. We love it. So
that's your go-to. Is that your first brew? Is that your go-to drink of choice?
It's like one of ours. Yeah, like you get your Dole Whip over in Adventureland, and then by the time you get to Fantasyland, you need a little more. So we always get the LeFou's brew.
Is it also available at Disneyland?
No. It's only available at Walt. No, I take that back. I think they just started offering it somewhere there. Like, they rethemed one of the restaurants to be like the Red Rose or something, and I think they're starting to offer it there. But there's a whole area of Walt Disney World that is, because you've got the Be Our Guest restaurant. They do this really cool thing called Enchanted Tales with Belle, where you go into her dad's workshop, and this magical mirror transforms, and you go into this ballroom, and Belle and Lumiere and Cogsworth all retell the story together. It's a really cool thing. If you ever, you should look at a video on YouTube to see how they do it, because it's clever.
That's awesome.
It's a unique experience.
I was gonna give Disney World that's our competition. West Coast, East Coast. Eddie holding down the fort for Disney World. I've been holding on to anything Disneyland. I was gonna give you that and keep all of Cars Land to ourselves.
Oh, Cars Land for sure. It's hard to beat Cars Land.
Soarin' over California, soaring over the world.
They have that at Disney World as well. It's at Epcot. Sorry. No.
They have Soarin' over California down there?
They used to, but now it's just Soarin' over the world.
Yep.
I believe
I was there long enough. I had enough recently to see both. But anyways, moving on.
We both watched it with our kids, and I don't know about you, but Lewis would not look away. Like, he loved it. He was enraptured by it. We actually had to like pause it halfway through, and he was like, no. We're like, hold on.
That's so cute.
Yeah. So it held their attention easily.
Got some random questions that just like, I tried to group them together, and I just was like, we're just gonna do some rapid fire questions with Eddie. Okay. You ready for this?
Yes.
Is this the first quote unquote enchanted castle in the Disney universe?
Like, the castle itself is enchanted.
We have Sleeping Beauty, who's been enchanted by an apple or been put to sleep.
Yeah, it wouldn't be Sleeping Beauty.
We've got
it wouldn't be Snow White, but Sleeping Beauty You've got the fairies that go around it, but no, it's got to be the first enchanted castle. Yeah.
Like the first, this is the castle. We'll have
the castle itself.
Might have to text my wife while we're doing this.
Is there another one?
I'm trying to think. Here's another random question. What is Philippe the horse doing where it's just chilling outside the castle when she's ready to leave? What has he been doing this whole time?
Well, no. So this was the other thing I realized. The whole movie takes place in the course of just like a day or two.
Couple of days. Yep. I remembered that.
It's a really tight time frame.
But her father didn't.
Philippe would have only been out there like overnight.
But why didn't her father take the horse with him to go back?
The beast dragged him out and threw him into the enchanted carriage.
That's right. Okay. This is why I'm asking all the questions. Castle. Why is no one in town talking about the random castle?
Right.
That nobody has ever gone. That isn't just like a lore that people are talking. Ooh, the enchanted castle. Well, maybe that's what he's talking about. He's talking about the beast.
Yeah, that was one that was kind of surprising. This rewatch is why wasn't this better known?
Like that should have been like a lore. Like, oh, we hear him like scream. We hear the moans coming from the enchanted
beast
castle.
Roar. Yeah, I don't know. They are provincial.
That's the answer to everything.
They are provincial.
They are provincial. Trying to think if I had any other questions. Oh, here's one. It's some deep Reddit conversations.
We don't have a Reddit, by the way, if you're wondering.
Yeah. When she's reading the book earlier in one of the opening songs, is she actually reading Aladdin?
Is she?
Oh, she meets Prince Charming, but won't discover that it's him till chapter 3. Is this Aladdin?
I don't know.
I heard this before, and I wanted to throw this by you.
This has got to be true, though, because they were working on Aladdin. I mean, you've seen Howard now. That was the first film they wanted to make.
And they had to push it, and they did this one instead,
Yeah. I betcha it is.
It makes so much
I've not
sense.
thought about that.
You're going to be up all night researching this. You're going to be Googling all over Reddit looking for this stuff.
I need confirmation.
I need confirmation about this specific one. Another question that kind of digs into some of this. In the song, they say, so in the opening, she says that he's got till his 21st birthday. But then in the song, they say they've been rusting for 10 years. There's a weird timeline thing because he definitely wasn't 11 when he became the Beast. Because you've got the whole image of him on the wall that has. So there's some timing things that I had a question.
Is that about. In Be Our Guest?
Be Our Guest,
which we haven't brought up yet, which is fascinating.
We skipped over.
Arguably the best song, if not tied with Beauty and the Beast. I don't know. That's an interesting. I wonder if that's just a plot hole.
Just okay. Gotcha. Because he looks older, like he should be, but he's also acting like he's a child. But then again, he doesn't have parents to.
True.
Do anything with. Should we talk about Be Our Guest since you're feeling the itching for it?
I can't sit still during that song. I think it's phenomenal. It just makes you move and want to dance and sing along.
Did it make you hungry? Because they're talking about a lot of food.
It makes you want to try the gray stuff. I hear it's delicious.
One of the questions that we haven't gotten to ask in a while one recurring questions we like to ask each other. One is, would you let your daughter date the Beast?
The Beast? No. I think the prince he becomes at the end, yes. I think I would be like the dad, like, I'm not sure about this.
I was trying to figure out a clever other alternative, but there really is. There really isn't. I know he becomes a good person, but like it isn't. Yeah, there isn't like a funny other alternate one that I can think of right now.
So we often like to think about what if this movie was made in 2020. We've alluded to this. It was remade in 2018. And I initially, when I was kind of going through this, going, well, if it was made in 2020, it would probably be filled with horrible CGI characters. Oh, wait, that is exactly what they did.
Horrible CGI characters.
The Beast being by far the worst. And like everybody else just doesn't look real at all. Like you should have doubled that. You made enough money in the end. You could have spent a little bit more on some better CGI there.
They could have pulled a Cats and re-released it with better CGI afterwards.
Yeah.
Yeah, that part of the cat and the casting of it, they didn't get that clumsiness that really made him. It was too intense of a character. He played it too straight.
He was too refined.
I enjoyed their casting for Gaston. I enjoyed their casting for LeFou. LeFou was great. I was sad because I have so much. I obviously love Emma Watson in the Harry Potter movie, so I was excited to see her in this.
She can't sing.
And also she
way auto-tuned her.
And she went too far down the road of the things we talked about Belle up at the front. She really took it too far in the provincial side of all of the people in this town really are complete idiots and they just don't get me and they don't want to embolden us women at all. And it just hit me wrong. And I was just like,
yeah, it was too
much like for what the character was.
Yeah.
And it's really, if you were to say, what are they going to do in a 2020? They would double that. They would double down on that. They did. And it hurt the film. So.
Yeah, and they just they brought in so many people. I mean, you had Ian McKellen, Emma Thompson, Ewan McGregor, Stanley Tucci, like Josh Gad, who we mentioned earlier.
All individuals that I love individually.
It didn't come together. It just didn't click. However, for me, the glimmering moment of the 2018 remake, I love Kevin Kline. And bringing him in as Maurice and giving that music box moment and kind of explaining what happened to her mom.
I don't even remember it because I was so mad about the rest of the film.
I thought, I was like, okay, you messed with the movie a lot. Here, I thought I liked this. I liked opening that part of the story a little bit. Though I was going to say, one of our questions we like to ask is, what would have happened if the parents were involved? I like to think that if Belle's mom was there, none of this would have happened because she would have just told Maurice, go chop the wood yourself. You don't need a machine to do it. And he never would have left. They never would have found the castle and we wouldn't have the story.
Yes, I would agree with that. The not having a mother involved. She's probably not. I think you're right. Taking the tact of the father wouldn't have been as absent-minded and running off. Probably would have been with him on the journey with Philippe to town to at least assist in helping them find directions or something like that.
Right.
It's absent-minded as Maurice is. So I would agree with that.
So we have not yet ranked the movie.
We haven't.
I'll let you go first.
This is definitely getting the upgrade to gummy worms. 5 gummy worms, not just 5 fruit snacks. 5 gummy worms. There's not a flaw in this movie to me.
I would agree wholeheartedly. This is
it's a pantheon. It's a Mount Rushmore candidate.
It's on my Mount Rushmore. No questions asked. It is. It was.
I'm gonna wait to see because it's gonna get crowded.
I've only got 2 up there right now. And we said Mount Rushmore of the Renaissance.
That's right. That's right.
I give myself that room. It was the first animated film to be nominated for Best Picture.
Oh.
The only other movie now, animated movie to be nominated for Best Picture was Up.
It did.
And that was only after they extended the category. They went from 5 to 10. But in 1991, it was one of the 5 best pictures of the year. And that was actually when the Academy picked the actual best pictures, not now where they pick random movies that nobody's seen. Yeah. And it won the Golden Globe for Best Picture.
Yeah,
it won the Golden Globe for Best Picture, because remember, Golden Globe has that music and comedy category.
That's
and
right.
Then the drama.
And drama separated, yep.
Yeah, and so it won for the Best Picture. That's musical incredible. Or comedy. So that tells you the caliber of this.
It's incredible.
Yeah.
Real quick, I have an update. I texted my wife. The question is Beauty and the Beast the first Disney enchanted castle, quote unquote enchanted castle?
Mm-hmm.
This is her direct response. She took it very seriously. She didn't laugh or anything. Like no, she took it seriously.
No emojis.
No
GIFs.
She said, I mean, you could say Sleeping Beauty's castle was enchanted, but this is the differentiator. But as far as people being enchanted to become objects, that's only Beauty and the Beast. So if that's your definition of enchanted, of the things inside and they move and there's people and stuff like that, then yes. I would say, though, that now that I'm thinking about if that's the criteria, does, I know we're going to go on a tangent here, does The Sword and the Stone, the Merlin, enchants things?
I have to rewatch
all
that.
The dishes, doing their own dishes and stuff like that. You could potentially say that he's enchanting objects inside of this castle. I think this is definitely a different level of that. So
one could make that argument.
One could make the argument. I am slightly making it to then bash it.
Yes.
And throw it apart and just say, nope, Beauty and the Beast. First
Beauty and the Beast gets 5 gummy worms on the Mount Rushmore of the Disney Renaissance. Arguably the best Disney animated film of all time. Just putting that out there.
Any dad tips from this movie?
Any dad tips? Yeah, like don't take on a beast that's twice your size just to get a girl that obviously doesn't want you.
And you're obviously a bad match.
Like, we're both fathers of sons. It's like, don't be that blatantly arrogant that think, all women just fawn over you.
Yeah.
You are not God's gift to women.
My dad tip is pull your head out of your machines once in a while to pay attention to your children, especially when they don't want to be in town anymore. They want to get out of their provincial life.
I'm glad you said machine there. I thought we were no longer going to have a Disney rating.
Pull your head out of your axe.
There we go.
I was looking for it. I was looking for the word. That would be my dad tip of this. Any unintended moral consequence of this film?
This is a hard one.
Because there's good morals to this. Like
there is
the Beauty and the Beast, looking past what people look like to who they really are and the type of character they have.
I think the unintended moral consequence is we again are reinforcing a false narrative that wolves will attack people.
I forgot about it. It was right up in here. It was right here, Eddie, and I missed it. It's on my OneNote document of all of my things, and I forgot about it. And I'm so disappointed in myself. Ladies and gentlemen, wolves do not hunt humans.
No, we got that disclaimer at the end of White Fang.
White Fang, you heard it here from White Fang. But
again,
that's what you expect from us. We're going to educate you and make sure that you realize wolves do not hunt.
But yet again, an unintended moral consequence of this film is there are people out there who think wolves will attack you.
And they
if
you
escape an enchanted castle on your lazy horse who's just sitting out front and the wolves come, people are going to think if a beast doesn't come and save me, I'm dead.
Wolves don't hunt.
And we're not going, it's not on our list. But I just want to say that this is a serious problem with Disney and they need to fix it because they do this again in Frozen. In Frozen, the wolves try and attack.
That's right. They do, don't they?
And this is wrong. And they did it again in this new Olaf short that just came out on Disney Plus. They replay the scene from Olaf's angle and the wolves are all coming out. Well, it actually makes sense. Have you seen it? It's really funny because Olaf has a sausage as a nose. So that makes sense because they just want to eat.
And he's not a person. So
right.
They could.
They're reinforcing this idea that wolves
They're just shoving it down our throats. It's obviously
it's a false narrative.
It's intentional at
this
point.
News.
It's fake news. I'm distraught. I forgot you. I was having a good time talking about that. That's what you got me distracted, enjoying talking about this 5 gummy worm movie.
Yeah.
And then you bring up the thing I had sitting right here and it looks like it's blaring. There's an exclamation mark.
This is its flaw. We said it's a flawless movie. It probably isn't.
I have to reevaluate my life.
This may be 4.5 gummy worms as a result of this. The head of the gummy worm is bitten off. Not by a wolf, by us.
Yeah, this is not okay. But that's okay because we had fun with this, and I hope you had fun listening to us talk about and rant about Beauty and the Beast in our longest episode to date.
Of course,
a full hour on this. So thank you so much for listening, Eddie. What is our poll question for our listener going to be this week?
I would like to know if you are going to be enchanted and stuck being an object for 10 plus years or however many, we don't know. This is a plot hole we've got to figure out. However much period of time, what object would you like to be stuck as? A clock, a candlestick, a pot, or God forbid, a footrest?
Ugh.
You know, I guess you have to be the dog to be the footrest. I don't know, but what object would you, if you had to be stuck as an object, which would you prefer?
Yep.
That's our question. You can find that at honeywemade.com/listener. We'd love to hear from you. Also give us your feedback and comments about how much you love Beauty and the Beast and join our Save the Wolves initiative as we raise money to fund a wolves only highway across the No, I will stop now.
Too far? Maybe not far enough. Because I don't know about you, Eddie, but I got to run and I've got to go I got to go register a domain right now for a new website.
Save the Wolves.
For Save the Wolves or Pluie or something like that. Because I'm up to here. I'm up to here right now about this.
I'll join you. I'll make the yard signs.
Great. Awesome. Thanks for listening.